Hi, I'm Angela Ryder. Thanks for joining me today. I want to talk about the phrase holding space. It gets used a lot in wellness and spiritual communities, and when I hear it, I notice like an energetic undertone that's implying someone's being managed. And, when words or phrases become overused or lose clarity of meaning, I tend to stop using them. But there is something underneath the phrase that I think may be useful to talk about because I do hold space in my work, and I just want to be clear about what that means to me and what it doesn't. The way holding space often gets used, it sounds like you're doing something to or for another person, like you're managing their experience or trying to contain their pain or create some kind of protective bubble around them. And there's something in that framing that feels sort of disempowering, both for the person who's trying to manage and the person who's on the receiving end of it. It kind of implies a claim over somebody else's process, like this space is yours to hold and they're just inside of it. And I want to be clear here that holding space is different than creating and clearing and invoking a protected energetic container. In sessions, I call on the spirit team to hold the physical and multidimensional space between and around us clear of things like non-beneficial energies, entities, interferences, and influences, because that kind of energy, our energetic container work, is useful and important. And it's different from the interpersonal framing of holding space for someone, which kind of implies authority over another person's process, or at least imposing some energy over it. So clearing and protecting an energetic field is about the field. And holding space, as it's usually used, is about a relational dynamic between two people, and those are different things. So this is what I mean when I use the space. And first, a little bit of science background. Holding space, as I understand it and practice it, isn't about managing somebody else. It's about managing myself. Specifically, we need to manage our own nervous systems and energies. Because research in psychology and neuroscience shows that people benefit most when the person offering support has a settled and regulated nervous system. When your nervous system is settled and clear, you're not leaking your anxiety or projecting nervous energies or your own unprocessed material into the space. You're not performing presence or managing the other person's experience. You're just calmly present in the space with them. And that matters because of how nervous systems interact. Mirror neurons, the neural mechanism that allows us to resonate with what we observe in others and feel from others, means that being in the presence of a settled nervous system gives another person's nervous system something to orient to. Not because you're doing anything to them, but simply you're being in proximity with them. So this is especially relevant for those who are highly empathic. Empathy is a real and useful sensitivity because it lets you perceive and be informed by what someone else is experiencing. But the distinction I find useful is to, when you're having empathic sensitivity, is observe and don't absorb. You can let the empathic signal inform you without taking it on as your own to process and carry. That's a different relationship to what you're sensing, and it's part of what makes a settled nervous system makes possible. And that's very different framing from holding space. You're not holding anything of anyone else's. You're holding yourself so that your calm state becomes available to them as a reference point if they choose to receive it. So from that energetic layer, from energetic and multidimensional perspective, this is how I understand what happens in a session or even in a group setting. There are two different things happening. The first is just the ambient quality of presence I'm describing. Maintaining my own energetic integrity and clarity. So what flows through my channel, or just me, and my nervous system in the container of a session is clear. That's the reference point piece. What I receive and transmit from that clear state becomes available to the field. It's an offering. The person receives it to the degree they choose. The second is the active, directed energy work that happens through my spirit team and the client's spirit team in a session. And this is different from simply being a clear, settled presence. It includes transmissions and activations, attunements, clearing work, and other directed energy support that comes through the channel specifically for that person. The spirit team is doing the focused, intentional work. I'm the channel facilitating and creating the offering. The person receiving it has their own authority over what they receive. Their higher self and spirit team regulate and direct what comes through for them. So there's nothing being imposed. But neither of these are holding space in the usual sense. In the ambient version, I'm a reference point. In the active version, I'm a channel for directed spirit team work. Both depend on my own energetic clarity and a settled channel, though. And the energy present in a session isn't like manufactured by me and aimed at the other person. It's transmitted through me from our spirit teams together and offered rather than projected over space, time, dimensions, even if we're not in the same room. And so what does this look like in practice, whether you're a practitioner or someone wanting to support a person that you care about? Tending to and regulating your own nervous system is the foundation. That means having awareness and practices that help you stay present with your own discomfort without trying to fix anything for yourself or for the other person. And that's where practicing to observe and not absorb is important. When you're supporting someone you care about, you can still offer practical help, problem solving, emotional support, and love, and showing up in all the very human ways that matter. But underneath all of that, whether you're a practitioner or someone's closest person, what makes the biggest difference is your awareness of the energy dynamics. That means understanding your own patterns well enough that you're not projecting your expectations, fears, or emotional reactions onto the other person's experience. And it means knowing what's yours and what's theirs well enough that you're not absorbing and trying to process their stuff through your own field. So when you can kind of hold that concept about those things, your presence becomes something they can receive support from rather than something like they also have to manage around. So it looks like witnessing rather than managing. There's a difference between saying, I'm holding space for you, and I'm witnessing you through this. Witnessing is a presence without projection. So it's staying present with what someone's going through without needing them to move through it faster or differently or in a way that makes you more comfortable. So to wrap it up, when I say I'm holding space, if I even use that word or term, what I mean is my practice is to be a clear, settled channel. And that means staying aware of my own conditioning, projections, and judgments, and tending to my nervous system, not, just as preparation for a session, but as my usual set point as I move through my day. The more that's my baseline, the more I can offer it when it matters. That's it. It's not a claim over anyone else's experience. It's a quality of my own energetic presence that I bring into a room or the session or the field. And that's a definition that can apply to anyone. You don't have to be a practitioner to hold space in this sense. You just have to tend to your own nervous system and energy management so that when you're offering support, your presence is a calming one and you're not projecting your energetic stuff into their field or trying to absorb or manage their process. So that's it. If this resonated, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you'd like support developing that kind of clear, settled inner presence, that's something we can work on in a session. And the link is in the description. I'll see you next time.